My name is Bruce Lichorowic, and I have a ton of slides that I want to go over real quick, but I want to at least give you a brief summary if you don't see any other slide past this. We came out of Johns Hopkins. This was a research project started in 2010 by Russ Taylor. If anybody knows of his name, he has his DNA in about every single robot that's on the market today. So what we're doing is we're providing a robot that's going to be pretty much cross-platform and a general surgical robot where it will not only go into different areas of the body, and whether it be neuro, head and neck, ENT, soft spine. Well, we're bringing a robot to market that's got a 25 micron accuracy level, and we're using it, and we're coming out with a business model that's very unique. My background's high tech. I don't know if anybody saw the panel last night. I come out of SaaS and AI background. And so basically I am converging what I've learned in the last 20-some years into this particular robot. We will go into a de novo application in Q1. We have 41 patents filed. We have raised already $10 million. We're doing a $25 million seed round, or Series A, 15 new capital. Half of that is already committed by my insiders, and we're looking for, obviously, there's big exits. So if you look at the robot, how it sits, we were told by many, many surgeons that if you're going to replace my tech to hold an instrument, that you only get that space at the table. Now, we did a 36 by 36 is the space of the table, and what the robot does, it holds any tool the surgeon already has. These are not our tools. These can be J&J, they can be Medtronic, these would be Integra, Teleflex, but it gives you 6 degrees of freedom, and what it does, it gives you the ability for the surgeon to stabilize the tool. We can, in the future, give them guidance. We can reduce tool fatigue, and in the future, obviously, put in navigation. What they wanted was a 3-second exchange rate where they would, as fast as the nurse would give him a tool, he wanted to have that put on the robot and ready to go, and interchange that. So we can hold an end effect, we can hold an endoscope, as you'll see here. We're going to hold a drill. We're talking to OnSpoc from J&J's group. We're talking to Medtronic, my previous life. And so we're talking a lot of these guys to hold their tools on the robot. We're looking at neurosurgery. Every surgeon has a particular value prop. There are two the same, but when you look in different areas, neurosurgery, they're looking for the third hand. They want to be able to rake the brain, leave it, let the robot hold it, and then come in with their other two hands. So they're looking for that third hand opportunity, and for tumor removal and things like that. Soft spine, brand new market. We didn't think we could address this. This is not a robot that can handle bone. This is basically a robot that can do laminectomies, decompressions, things like that. Again, very, very fine, close to the nerve type precision. Otology middle ear, same thing, putting in, doing stapiotomies, things like that. Neural ports, long instruments, tremor is a big deal. And then here you have laryngology, which is probably the lowest hanging fruit that the surgeons want, is to have stability doing vocal cord surgery. What's interesting is any one of these markets as they stand today as a TAM would not justify a robot. It's not big enough. You're not going to get a robot to do vocal cord surgery. You're not going to have a robot dedicated to do cochlear ear replacements. But when you combine it up, the TAM gets very large. So this is an example of what steady hand means. That's a 10-year attending surgeon. All we asked him to do was hit the red dot. Free hand left, we attached the robot, and you can see the difference of what type of stability it gets in a 2 millimeter circle. Big field. We didn't want to get in front of Da Vinci's bus. We don't want to get in front of Oris's bus. We don't want to stay out of all the buses of orthopedics. So we look for the areas that they're not. So neurosurgery, head and neck, soft spine is where we're headed. And what's interesting is all these robots can't do soft tissue robotics at this juncture. Big addressable market. It's incredibly big when you combine it all. FDA guidance, very simple. We don't need clinical for the mere fact the surgeon remains 100% in control. The robot holds a cleared already tool. There's no specific disease state, and the robot doesn't touch the patient. So we are predicting and hoping to get through FDA a normal 170-day average clearance rate. We're right here on our execution line. We're in V&V. We will go into submission in Q1. Tons of studies on this. Of course, it comes out of Hopkins. Everybody and his brother and sister wanted to do a study on the robots. So we have 16 peer-to-peer, 40 clinical. When you look at what's out there for the robots today, these are all robots that basically are single use, but they add time to the case. And this is the killer problem I talked about last night in the panel. When you add time to the case, you've already lost half your surgeons in the hospital. So when you look at that, what we wanted to do was to bring us a robot to market as a service, where we don't charge a capital expense. We look at a usage fee, a disposable fee, and then everything below that would be upgrades. Basic cable, now you want HBO, now you want Showtime, and you basically are bringing personalized pricing to the case. It's not a one-size price book fits all. So we also know on disposables. What's interesting on this is our COGS are so low that at the 83rd case, we know we break even on our COGS. We ask for 200 case commitment from the hospital. I've got 42 hospitals that want one of these already. Of course, we're not going to do that out of the gate. And there are hospitals that can't do this. So if you want to go back to the old-fashioned model of CapEx, sure. Love to take your 350 grand, which is discounted price. Disposable the same, everything's the same. These are our partners. This is one I could place at least one or two in any one of these. We are just going to pick 8 to start off with. We want to keep it tight and controlled. My team, this is my 4th startup, my 2nd in medical. I've done 2 in high tech. This team has been with me on half of the high tech group and also in medical. My board, I've got Henry Brem, I've got Froelich, I've got Crummell from Stanford, I've got Fletcher from Medtronic. My advisory boards, I've got Levy from Intuitive. Now, Intuitive is actually one of our advisors because we're going to spaces they can't get to. You also have Theodore, Nick, Maurice from Mako. So we have a big group of people that are roboticists that have done this before. Surgical advisory board is the same. Obviously, these are all real KOLs. And why we moved from Silicon Valley to Maryland, Baltimore, I continue to ask myself that question, but we did. But we basically were offered a deal we couldn't refuse from the state of Maryland, where they gave us close to $10 million in grants and tax incentives. Here's our timeline. I can go into more detail in the breakout on this. Here's our round, seeking a lead because we already have half it covered. That's it, just in time. Thank you very much.